Alright guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video. So I just want to do a quick video sort of discussing LR Omega Shenron right here. LR Omega is one of the kind of, I don't know what to say, almost like eagerly anticipated like LRs for quite a while now. LR Omega Shenron I think is one. LR Kid Buu is one. I think LR Ultimate Gohan counts as well. At Buu Saga Ultimate Gohan, I mean, we did finally get an LR Ultimate Gohan, but I mean, he's, you know, covered in controversy over Beast Gohan and stuff like that. I do think kind of like a Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks would be a good LR. Like, there are a bunch of characters, right, that want and need LRs. I would say Kid Buu seems to be the one that most people want. And then Omega was probably 2, I feel like. Right, it seemed like people were very excited for the possibility of LR Omega and LR Kid Buu for part 2 of the 8th year anniversary. So they give us Omega now. Now, a lot of people were anticipating Baby, including me. I was, yesterday I would have said Baby, 99% chance. But when we got V-Jump that showed the Omega Shenron Burst Mode, that was where it was like, oh, okay, like, we probably are going to get Omega then. It seems like we would want to look out for this in the future, but Burst Mode typically is really tied closely to, like, the LR, because remember, we got the Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks Burst Mode, and then Super Buu comes out of nowhere. So, in the future, if we're anticipating, okay, maybe we might see, like, an LR, I don't know, Kid Goku in this second part, like, down the line, and then we get a burst mode for Cell, it's like, oh, well, it's probably going to be something close to Cell, right? Like, that's probably the way that's going to work. Now, a lot of people were expecting Baby. I have seen some people are upset that this is Omega and not Baby. I do think that's bullshit. Certainly you could have like Baby fans who would, be very excited for it. Baby is a villain character right now that is primed to help many villain teams. I mean, you could certainly say that like Baby would come into a situation where he's, on more relevant sort of like villain teams and stuff like that than Omega. I mean, Omega's not in the greatest spot ever. Let's look at this. GT Bosses, Shadow Dragon Saga, Full Power, Inhuman Deeds. This is Power Absorption, Battle of Fate, Transformation Boost, and then what is this? Powerful Comeback. So it's like that's Transformation Boost, right? Yeah, it is. So, I mean, it's not the craziest. He is on the GT Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta team. He is on Dokkan Fest Kale's team. He is getting the 200% from Kale too, by the way, huh? That is funny. Like, he's on a couple of teams. The main problem with him is needing GT bosses, though, which we'll get into in 2 seconds. But between Baby and Omega, Omega needed an LR pretty bad. And the thing about the Omega, I guess fight and stuff like that, there's actually still quite a few animations they could take because Omega fights for so long. Omega / Sin Shenron. They could easily do quite a bit with him. But the thing about it is, look at everything surrounding Omega. I think that Super Saiyan 4 Goku himself has a lot of animations they could pull from, but everything else has been used now. I mean, we could get like a transforming Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, or like a Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta with the intro where, he gets hit with the ray and then turns into Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. That certainly could be used as a card, I think. But a lot of the rest of the stuff, right, like, the 8th anniversary LR took a lot of the end of the fight. So I do think that Omega works well here, because this is exactly, we were saying this, where are they going to drop LR Omega exactly now? Because it's like, again, they've done all the other stuff that he fights pretty much. So I think that this works super well. And then if we look at Baby, right, the Baby saga is still so untouched, all things considered. You have all those characters fighting, Trunks and Majub and stuff like that. We did get Super Saiyan 4 Goku, a lot of his animations were used from the baby fight, but they could still do another potential LR. I mean, Goku doing the Kamehameha in front of the Earth is probably his most iconic move during that fight, and his initial transformation into Super Saiyan 4. The thing is that Omega needs an LR, not a Dokkan Fest. Baby needs a Dokkan Fest, not an LR. So this does work fine with Omega being the LR. I think preferably Baby could be the Dokkan Fest in 2 weeks. I mean, if that was the case, we're in business for real, right? Because it's like we're next week probably. We're gonna get the EZA for LR Baby. If we get Dokkan Fest Baby in 2 weeks, we got Omega, we had Super 17, right? Like they could do some stuff. I mean, maybe what if? I mean, I'm just spitballing here. What if they EZA LR Super Set? Well, I mean, they probably wouldn't do that. No 2021 character has been EZA'd yet. I feel like if they're gonna go, because the most recent character to EZA is STR Blue Kaioken Goku on JP. He's an April 2020 unit on JP. That's the most recent EZA character. I think for like worldwide or anniversary, they would go like a year in advance, right? So like, I think that maybe like the GT, like Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta duo or something like that for like a worldwide, I could see them go way far in advance to EZA characters. But for like, this is sort of just going to be like a monthly Dokkan Fest celebration. They probably wouldn't, go a year in advance to EZA LR Super 17. But I think it's huge if they build up this team, right? Baby Dokkan Fest works well. LR Omega works well. But they designed LR Omega here as needing GT bosses characters, right? So one of the major factors of this unit is he gets 1 key and 5% damage reduction per GT bosses category ally on the team. Right now, if we look at the GT bosses category, this is one of the worst categories in the game, if not outright the worst. What would be worse than this? Because World Tournament is not in discussion anymore. Namekian is far better than this. I mean, I feel like I'm going to be a little bit more positive about this LR Omega than a lot of people. But certainly, he's not on the level of Orange Piccolo. I don't think so. The one thing about this Omega is that he's going to dominate a lot of the game. That's not the really tough fights, which is certainly more important. When we're talking, this is a Carnival LR, right? He's a Carnival LR. So it's certainly much more important that this guy would dominate the entire game. Or, excuse me, the major fights. Red Zone, Salmax. Remember, we're getting a new fight, presumably against this guy right here, which I think would all be very important, right? So GT bosses needs help. If they're going to drop LR Omega Shenron, like, you got to give this category help. I suppose they decided to not drop Omega back during the 8th anniversary because it's like the team has nothing. So what has GT bosses gotten since the 8th anniversary? We've gotten Baby Banner Unit, and we've gotten Dokkan Fest Super 17, and now we've gotten several EZAs. I mean, that is helpful, but it's not enough. I mean, we need more. We need more options than this. Again, we're gonna get this guy's EZA, which is good. I mean, damn, if they really wanted to suck our balls, they could give us this guy's EZA. This would be huge. Like, if this character got an EZA and their damage didn't change at all, but, like, their support was buffed, and then they just get, like, guard. Like, you could, like, just a little bit of, like, 30% defense here, 50% defense here, guard at the start of turn, right? Buff this up to 50%, and, like, we be gaming, right? Like, that would be really nice, right? Or, like, they guard if the entire team is GT bosses, something like that. Like, I don't mind them restricting him to GT bosses, but it becomes a thing where you then have to buff GT bosses. I mean, I look at LR Golden Frieza, who came out last June, without really a team. Golden Frieza's design was a little bit different, though, where he has a huge damage reduction at the start of the fight, and then he slowly sort of tapers off, right? But, like, we need to give buffs to this team. I think one issue with Dokkan is they're getting a lot of different things, right? Like we got Super 17, we got God Goku, we got Kale, we got 23rd World Tournament Goku and Piccolo, but it's not fun to have these like puzzle pieces that are just sort of half finished just by themselves floating out there, right? Like I would like if there was a little bit more cohesion to get these characters to create competent teams, right? Like it's like if you want people to spend money on these, which again, like you guess what, Omega costs money. It really would be nice if like he had like a very strong, easy setup to run on, or he could be made more powerful. I think if Omega, I mean, there's a couple of changes you can make to him that would be a little bit better. I mean, obviously not needing GT bosses for damage reduction, I think would be pretty huge. I think that they could have incorporated this regular damage reduction in a different way, and then instead he could have gotten huge damage increases for GT bosses category allies. I think that would be fair because this guy needs to carry GT bosses on his back. If we drastically increased his damage by, GT category, like, bosses, allies being on the team, I think that would help out tremendously. That, I think, would have been a great way to go about it. I think Omega will be good. I would rather we get this Omega LR right here than Baby, because, again, this just opens up very easily, New Year's could be Super Saiyan 4 Goku, like, a Goku that transforms into Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and then, like, a Baby Dokkan Fest. Like, New Year's dual Dokkan Fest celebration. But, like, I would like them to keep going to GT bosses right now, right? I would like them to, give Kale a insanely good Universe 6 partner to help her out right now. Super 17... this is definitely a helpful character for Super 17. The only thing, though, is, like, if we pull up this Super 17 character right here, this is a unit that is really meant to be used more so with Android characters. I mean, I guess he does. I mean, he does have Brutal Beatdown, Fear and Faith, Fierce Battle, and GT with Omega, right? So it's like they do have quite a few links. What does he get once he transforms? He loses Brutal Beatdown for Fuse Fighter, which certainly hurts. Yeah, this guy having Fuse Fighter has always sucked ass. You do not, like, get value out of that ever. This guy, man, if only he had Big Bad Bosses. If he had Big Bad Bosses, that would help him out tremendously. I do think that this character will be usable with the Omega team. The one thing about them in base is that they're a dodge character, right? Like, this is going to be a floating dodge character. They'll be effective in that role. And then once we transform, potentially we get them in the slot 1. I know one other issue a lot of people are pointing out about this guy I think is pretty valid. So, at the end of his passive right here, when his own revival is activated, he becomes super effective against all types and a guaranteed additional super. Pretty goddamn good. Pretty strong. But it's when his own revival is activated. It should just be when a character revives. That would be a pretty massive buff to this guy, because it does just point out the flaw in this type of character as a leader. This was a huge issue with Tech LR Carnival Goku as well, where one of them would revive and get buffed, but then the other one, is unable to get those buffs. I guess the thing is that it's just damage Omega's getting here. I'll live without that. If it was the defensive ability like Tech Carnival Goku, that's going to feel much, much worse. Overall, I think LR Carnival Omega is good. If it comes to, like, okay, like, we're doing our tier list, we're ranking him, that's going to be a little bit difficult. Is this guy a top 10 LR? Probably no. I mean, I would like to see him in action first. I think with, like, 2 strong additions to GT bosses, this guy could be a top 10 LR. We know that 1 is coming next week. Grade 8 Baby LR's EZA. But, like, they gotta hit. That needs to be a hit, right? Like, this is where it's like, LR God Goku, I think, was a resounding hit. And, like, they could have fumbled him and it wouldn't really matter, because there's 50 good God Gokus. But, like, now we get to the point where, villains, you can't really afford to fumble them so much. Like, like, if this guy was a lot better, it would help. Like, this guy's okay. Like, this Baby, like, we could use him. He's okay, but, I mean, he he needed to be better, man. Like like we really could have used this guy being quite a bit better. It would have helped out a little bit if this guy was stronger. Again, I mean, we could run him on Omega's team. I mean, he's got big bad bosses, he's got GT, he's got Fierce Battle. I mean, that's one nice thing, is that all these characters are at least gonna have GT together. So it's gonna be a pretty cohesive team, but we just need the powerful options. And we do come into it now where it's gonna be like, you know, I'm hoping that the next Dokkan Fest, you know, baby, like that would be sick. But like, you know, are we gonna get Super Trunks instead? I think Super Trunks would be fine, but you know, what teams, like, is Super Trunks showing up and saving some character? No, like I would really rather they fill in the missing puzzle pieces around some of these weaker releases. LR Super Boo, Super 17, Kale, and now LR Omega fits in with them. I would like characters to release to buff them. Omega does give Super 17 a little bit of help in like a different place to utilize him and stuff like that. So that is good. But then Omega comes in and he also needs help. So it's just like we're, you know, further just like, yeah, give us the pieces to help these characters. So we will see. We will see. Let me know what you guys think about LR Omega and GT bosses. I mean, it's good to get like a very strong Carnival LR for this team, but I mean, this unit was pretty much a fumble. This character, I mean, compared to other TURs, you could certainly say they're a fumble, right? Like, this guy, compared to some recent ban units, you could say is a fumble. And then now LR Omega comes into a situation where past fumbles hurt him, right? Like, if Baby and if Super 17 was, like, you know, on the level of, like, Piccolo Jr. or something like that, like, Omega would be cooking quite a bit differently, so these are all important things to keep in mind. So let me know what you guys think about LR Omega. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time.